All right, so I guess we'll get started, and I think a few more people are going to trickle in as we talk, but we want to be respectful of everyone's time. I want to thank everyone so much for coming out here today. This is hopefully first in a series of sand mining presentations that we're going to be doing throughout the area, and we're very happy to have with us here today Olin College of Engineering. A lot of students here today from their engineering program, and we also, and including the Professor Shapi Goenka, who's leading the Just Energy program at Olin College of Engineering. We also have Francesca from Air Partners here as well, and you're going to be hearing from all of them today during the presentation. So thank you very much for being here. My name is Catherine Harrelson. I work for Community Land and Water Coalition. We're a grassroots organization that works to educate and empower people to take action on the local level to make differences in their communities. And we're here today to talk about sand mining, which is an issue of concern to residents in southeastern Massachusetts. So we're going to give an overview of where the locations of sand mines are, and particularly with a focus on Carver. We're going to give a brief definition of sand mining and why this is an issue of concern. We're going to hear from Olin College about silica dust and the sampling results we did last spring on residents in Carver. We're going to hear from Air Partners on ongoing monitoring and basically a new monitoring project that we're launching for southeastern Massachusetts. And at the end, we're going to wrap this up and inform you of 3 different ways we have for you on how to take action on this issue. So what is sand mining? The way that Community Land and Water Coalition defines sand mining is the extraction of our sand resources below the ground under municipal permits without state oversight or environmental oversight, often under the guises of a permit application for another use, whereas the extraction of the sand resource itself yields significant financial benefits on the applicant, which often exceed the value of the original application, the original intention of the application. So sand mining is the commercial sale of sand, whereas the commercial sale of sand yields a significant financial resource for the landowner itself outside of the original intention of the permit. The UN has described sand mining as a silent environmental crisis. It is not a very well-studied issue. And yet sand mining is of increasing concern worldwide. Sand is actually the second most extracted resource after water globally. And yet there's very little data about where sand mining is occurring, the volumes that are being extracted, where it's going, and how it impacts the community and how it impacts the environment. The UN Environmental Program has actually set up a Global Sand Observatory Institute to try to collect data on sand mining because it's so poorly studied. And this is what they say from their publication, Sand and Sustainability, 10 Strategic Recommendations to Avert a Crisis. Sand plays a strategic role in developing ecosystem services, vital infrastructure for economic development. It provides livelihoods within communities and maintains biodiversity. It's linked to all 17 Sustainable Development Goals, either directly or indirectly. Despite the strategic importance of sand, its extraction, sourcing, use, and management remain largely ungoverned in many regions of the world, leading to numerous environmental and social consequences that have been largely overlooked. So this is what we're talking about here today. We're talking about a largely overlooked extraction of sand that's occurring right underneath our feet, that's not very well studied, and that there's not a lot of data on. So that's why we're here today. So there are laws that protect our environment, including sand mining. State and local laws. Under Carver, the earth removal bylaw is under the zoning laws. Applicants are also required to get earth removal permits. We have air pollution laws in Massachusetts, and we also have the Wetlands Protection Act, and we have laws governing pollution of our groundwater. So why are we concerned about sand mining? At Community Land and Water Coalition, we've received years of testimony and comments from residents that this is a concern in their communities. There's impacts to residents from this activity, including truck traffic, silica sand dust, noise and vibrations, great loss of forested lands, impact on real estate values. There's been a lot of concerns about just livelihood in people's neighborhoods. Many of these sand mines are located in environmental justice neighborhoods. There's potential impacts on our drinking water, and there's a loss of indigenous history as the sand completely scrapes away any traces of indigenous presence on the land going back thousands of years. This is a map from Mass Mapper of Mass GIS environmental justice neighborhoods, and as you can see, there's There's different types of environmental justice, but many of them are located in Plymouth County, particularly in Carver as well. So one reason that this is a concern of us is because we have a very porous sole source aquifer. All of the residents of southeastern Mass get their drinking water from our aquifer. It's of a very porous nature, and contaminants can seep right through it. We're trying to prevent a problem before it starts. We're trying to study this issue and get some state level action on it before that there's a problem with our drinking water. So sand and trees protect our drinking water by physically filtering sediments, by physically filtering heavy metals can absorb to iron flocculation in the sand. The sand provides a physical filtration of bacterial mats. The trees stabilize the soil. They allow natural filtration of stormwater. They absorb nitrates and sulfates. And together, the trees and the sand form a multi-layered defense mechanism that has protected our drinking water for hundreds, actually thousands of years. The trees and the sand reduce our risk of contamination for our drinking water. And when we do sand mining, we remove this protective layer. It's a very delicate system that's existed in balance for thousands of years, and we're changing it right now as we speak. We also have a mandate from the EPA to protect our drinking water. We live on a sole source aquifer, which has been designated as the sole source of drinking water for 200,000 people in our region. There are no laws protecting private drinking water wells. Every resident of Carver has a private well, except for up in North Carver. It's up to each individual homeowner to protect their drinking water source because there are no laws protecting the zone of influence for everyone's private well. It's only when you get into municipal water supply systems that the zone 1s and zone 2s are protected from development. Private drinking water wells are not protected from development. And yet, the EPA states, since nearly all residents are dependent upon the aquifer for their drinking water, a serious contamination incident could pose a significant public health hazard and place a financial burden on the services for the residents. So we have this federal statement that we have a very delicate aquifer and we have to protect it. And yet the residents are on their own when it comes to actually protecting their own drinking water. So how many sand mines are located in Carver? This is a map of the current active permits in Carver. I think there's 12 of them total. They sort of run north-south. The current total approved yardage is over 6 million cubic yards of sand, and each one of these permits are going to be extracted for, I can't remember exactly, but between like 3 and 5 years. So these will be active for a couple of years, and most of these permits were issued within the last few years. So actively almost 7 million cubic yards of sand will be extracted from Carver. There are 4 applications currently under review by the town of Carver. This would be almost another, if they were approved, this would be almost another 1 million cubic yards of sand to be extracted. And then Community Land and Water Coalition has pulled permits for the last 25 years across southeastern Massachusetts. I'll try the, but this is the Carver area right here. You can find this information on sandwars.org, but we've identified over 110 sand mining sites in southeastern Massachusetts, many of them located in Carver over the last 25 years. I added up the totals of permits that we pulled for Carver over the last 25 years, and it's over 27 million cubic yards of sand have been extracted. All of these are located in residential neighborhoods because the zoning is agricultural residential. Some of them are located within 500 feet of homes. We get information from residents about what's happening in their neighborhoods, including sand blowing onto people's cars, entire sand dust events in their neighborhood. And so we've been accumulating this evidence, and it's time for us to take it to the next level. It's time for us to accumulate this data and kind of consolidate it into one source. If you want information about pending applications in Carver, you can go to the Carver Earth Removal Committee website. If you want information about all of the permits, you can go to sandwars.org. You can click on our map. We have all of the permits. We have links to the permits, links to the impacts. We have site profiles on every single site in southeastern Massachusetts. So why are we here? I think I'll come to the point. We're here because we want to take it to the next level. We've partnered with Lowell College of Engineering, and we've partnered with Air Partners to launch into a year-long data accumulation study on the impacts of sand mining in southeastern Massachusetts. And I'm going to turn it over to them so they can explain how. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Chavi. I'm a professor at Olin College of Engineering, and I'm one of the advisors for a program called Just Energy program at Olin. It started last year, so we have the previous team that worked about 6 months with Community Land Water Coalition, and we have the current team sitting all around here. So they'll introduce themselves as they come up, or they'll come say hi to you after. So just to explain what just energy is, so it comes from the term just transition and renewable energy. And just transition is based on principles where we go from extraction to regeneration, of how to have continue to have positive impact and reduce the negative impact, even while we transition to renewable energy. Because once we transition away from fossil fuels, we are questioning, are we causing the same harm? Like, for example, if sand is being removed to install solar panels, we are transitioning to renewable energy, but we are causing harm to communities. So how can we transition to solar, wind, etc., minimizing the impact of communities? So that's what Just Energy is looking at. And we are glad to partner with Community Land Water Coalition and Air Partners, who are advising the students on how to do air quality monitoring and environmental monitoring. So just to take you through the presentation outline of what we are doing. So who and what is Just Energy? I talked about that. So the three components that we are presenting today, one is sand sampling to look at what the sand actually looks like. Because the makeup of the sand tells you how harmful or not harmful the sand is, what harms can it cause, what does it look like, what are the components of the sand itself. Air monitoring tells us what impact the sand mining is having on the air, which is what Air Partners are helping with. And then the community dashboard is something we created to be able to have all this data available to the community to look at, and also make it available for you all to enter data into it. Because in terms of doing just transition, we have also seen that when community has control of data, whether to look at the data or look at the analysis or report the data, we get better data, we get more information, and the community has all the information they need to make decisions about their lives. So we don't have to tell you what to decide. You can look at it and decide for yourselves. So we'll go one by one in these steps, how to describe it to you, and I'll hand it over to the students to start talking about sand sampling. And introduce themselves, actually.
So hi, my name is Shruti. I'm a part of the Just Energy team. I'm really excited to meet you guys today. So who are we? We're students, part of Olin College of Engineering as well as Babson College. And we're kind of working towards this capstone where it's focused on environmental justice as well as Indigenous sovereignty, which is really important to us. So we here are here to support a clean energy transition, a just energy. And so not only with free, prior and informed consent of the communities impacted. And so we're in partnership with CLWC and Community Land Waters Coalition, as well as Air Partners, who we're really honored to work with. And that's just a picture of us.
So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the actual sampling that we've been doing. This was mainly the team, which was last year's team of students, because every year students graduate and new students come on to take over. And so in this initial phase where we're trying to collect more data, they collected samples from a sand mine in a abutted property. This is on Weston Street nearby. And one of the benefits that we can bring to this collective effort is we have access to a pretty extensive material science lab and science testing lab. So we can actually analyze the samples in our school and look at them. And so that's mainly done using this microscope, which is called a scanning electron microscope, and basically can look at, it can magnify things more than an optical zoom by shooting little electrons at a material. And we use this to look at sand samples and mainly trying to identify potential air quality risks and concerns, which is mainly really small particulate matter in these sand samples. So these are just images of the sand samples that the previous team collected being mounted on tape and put into the SEM. And this is just a slide kind of explaining how zoomed in scanning electron microscope can identify, these are, I think, skin cells.
This is the head of a wasp.
This is
Yeah, so it's really zoomed in. So this one is 200 micrometers, and 1 micrometer is 1/1000th of a millimeter. So very small, and it can go up to 1 nanometer, which is another 1/1000th of a micrometer. So really small.
And what we're looking for is respirable silica, which Shavi will tell you more about. But it has this like a certain atomic mass, and that's what gets picked up by the machine. And
Yeah, so these are the results of the analysis that we did. So the sand contained 80 to 90% silica. So a certain amount of silica is expected because silica is one of the main components of sand, but 80 to 90% is a pretty high amount of silica. So you can see here, this is from the sand mine, the red particulate here, that's silica. And then if you can push it again, these are the brightest ones are the silica in this one as well.
right, which we know because this is why the sand is so valuable. But it's the small particulates that get spread to other properties that we're mainly concerned about.
Yes, because so silica particulate is not in itself harmful, but when it is breathed in, it can cause a lot of potential health effects. So all the amount of silica that's in the sand that is you're able to breathe in or that is in the air, that's going to be the most damaging to your health, and that's what we want to look at. So even if the mass looks small, the fraction of the particulate dust and the frequency of sanded beds are what we need to monitor. So right now, like keeping in mind, there are health effects. A lot of the studies that have been done are about people who interact with silica particulate every single day for 10 to 15 years. So no studies have been done on residents or who occasionally get sand, but there are still a lot of health effects that could happen.
And this is why we need more data to get that connection. Okay, Shavi.
Thank you, Peter and Eva. So just me again. Just briefly about why are we talking about health effects of silica and why we talk about respirable silica. So there are certain sizes of particles that we can and cannot breathe in, and anything that we breathe in is respirable. So any silica that goes into our lungs while breathing is respirable silica. And it is seen that so PM here is particulate matter. The 10 means, so because you'll hear the term PM10, PM4 when we talk to you about air monitors maybe. So PM means particulate matter, 10 indicates any particle that's 10 micrometers or less in size. And that is considered breathable. So this is all from like studies of silica, and as Eva mentioned, the study of silica has been done most often as an occupational hazard, but not in residents. So we are trying to do this year-long study to see if it actually impacts residents in the area. And just to highlight that when you're at the beach or somewhere else around sand, it will not affect you so much because you've breathed in a little bit of it, but this is consistent over years around your house all the time. So I wanted to highlight that this is potential health impacts, and this is the reason why we want to do the study and see if there's a health effect. So respirable silica can be of two styles, two types, crystalline and amorphous. And crystalline is the one that has been seen to cause cancer or silicosis, which is the most dangerous disease associated with silica. And this causes like damaging of the lungs, lung cancer, etc. Amorphous silica also does not cause cancer or silicosis, but it can cause respiratory irritation. And if it's there for long term, it can cause a repetitive occurrence of respiratory disease. Once again, this has all been studied in workers, but not in residents. Interestingly, I recently found a paper so in India, where I'm from, gravel and sand mining is a very common occurrence in different mountain areas and river areas. And there have been studies that are being done on residents now in those areas. So we are lacking behind, so it'll be good to do some studies and see. So our challenge is we don't yet know what kind of silica is in the sand here, amorphous or crystalline. We don't yet know the exact sizes of those silica, like do we have respirable silica? We need more data, we need more analysis. And what that means is we need more dust samples from residents from around sand mines. And we also need more information from the air monitors that, Francesca will talk more about. So if you would like to do your own research, like I said, I think community should take control of what's happening in their neighborhoods. If you want to do your own research, I would suggest looking at OSHA, Occupational Safety and Health Administration, CDC sources, and many other research papers. Also happy to share that research that we've done. And currently, some pages may not be updated, but there is still information about silica and studies that have been done. So In the 6 months that we worked with CLWC, here it is. This is us presenting at the State House with members of CLWC and Air Partners. We presented this data in support of the bills that CLWC presented in the State House. We had information from air monitors, but mostly we presented to them the sand analysis that the students had done to show them there is presence of silica that is concerning in the sand. So that was us supporting them. And so this analysis would not have been done without the support of Air Partners, and I'm going to hand it over to Francesca to talk more about that.
Thank you. Hello. So who's our partners? Our partners also started in Olin College as a research group headed by Scott Hersey, who wishes he could be here today, but he was doing another deployment in East Boston. And he started in 2017, and then this year we co-founded a benefit corporation outside of Olin to be able to serve more communities. And our mission is basically to support environmental justice communities in their work to breathe cleaner air. This can take form in many different ways, but today we're mostly talking about what we're doing with CLWC and Just Energy here in Southeast Massachusetts. So we have established their very own network of air monitors. Right now there are 11 air monitors in the community, around 5 main sand mines. The red pins are where the sand mines are, and then the blue markers are where the monitors are, which is very exciting. There's one more here. And by the end of today, by 4 p.m., we'll have 13, which is great. And the goal is to basically measure the impact of these sand mines in the neighborhood surrounded, right? This is a picture of one of our deployments, and I just wanted to highlight, this is me. And then that's Ben, who used to be a student at Just Energy, and then this is Aaron, who used to work at CLWC. This is how the sensor looks. Here's the close-up view. And I just wanted to show you this picture to show how the collaborative aspect of this project is really the 3 organizations coming together to make this happen. Out of curiosity, is any of you hosting a sensor currently? No, okay, great. If you're interested, just let us know. We're still looking for 2 more locations to make it 15.
To get the samples?
No, this is for air monitoring, so to put us an air monitoring sensor.
You're welcome to my house.
Yeah, let's talk later. Awesome. And just to give you a very quick overview of like how do we collect this data and what do we do with it. I appreciate my PowerPoint illustration of sand. Oh my god, I gotta clap. But basically, when there's a sand mine, there's digging, there's piles of sand, there's truck traffic, as you all know, and when there's wind, the wind carries the sand and the dust into the nearing neighborhoods. When it reaches the sensor measures it through here. The little inlet at the bottom, it measures it and then just pushes out. So it's not filtering, it's just like counting how many particles there are. The cool thing about these sensors is that they push the data to the cloud using like cellular signal. And at Olin College, our air partners, we can download the data from where we are. And these data, we produce it, we analyze it for patterns, and then we combine it. This is the most important part. We combine it with the resident testimony or comments, or like when CLWC marks that there was a dust event, or like suddenly the morning of cars were covered in sand. All of that information, we combine it with the data to build a very robust report and a case for saying, hey, this is actually impacting our community. So like this is the most important thing, is like without the resident information, the data is not that useful. So that's my main message that I'm going to leave you with, and then I'll pass it back to the students to talk about the dashboard.
So this is a screenshot of the community dashboard, which is what we mentioned earlier, and this is how you can access all of the locations of the sensors or community comments or sand sampling. So these icons right now, the only thing that's up is just the sensors, and yeah. Next.
Cool.
Yeah. So there, it brings together 3 different types of data, and they will be on the dashboard with 3 different types of icons. We're going to do a live demonstration of it at the end. But yes, as I said before, it brings together the sensors, these sensors, with the location on like a Google Maps screen, as well as dust collection. So Once you have collected a sample, you'll mark the location, and that location will be on the dashboard, as well as community comments. So this is when you can report about dust events, which we'll talk about later what the actual definition of is. But it's basically when you see like sand in the air, sand in your car, sand on your house, that kind of thing. And you can submit using a Google form, a community comment, and that location will also be shown on the dashboard.
Cool. Yeah, so walking it back to that analysis that I'll take that you got Peter and Ava talked about with the dust collection that they then went through with the SEM to figure out how much silica was in it. We are looking for more data of that type from other kinds of sand events. So after a dust event, right? So when sand is blowing through, Catherine will officially define it. Yeah. But we're looking to collect dust that is on raised surfaces, so windowsills, porches, pool covers, cars, in these dust collection kits that we have to hand out. And then after there's a dust event, you can log that event and send an email over to CLWC to collect it, and we'll take it back to Olin to analyze that information, right? Trying to build this understanding of what is the like contents of the sand that is in your neighborhoods. Cool. Wait, can we back up? Actually, yeah, we want to be really conscious about like you understanding where your data is going to be. So the dust event. Like the location of the collection, we need to know it to build that case, the like scientific case. But the location can be a little bit blurred when it ends up on the website, and it doesn't have to have your name attached to it. Next one. Cool. And then the community comments. This is a Google form that we have some papers and QR codes too. It's also like tinyurl.com/stopsandmining. So should be lots of ways to get there. And it's a way to put in like a narrative information about when there's been bad sand in the area and the harms caused. And there's a list of like specific information we need. But the same idea is like to build the pins on that map to understand where and when there's been bad sand. So yeah, that information will be stored internally to CLWC, and again, like your name can be taken off of it when it ends up on this public dashboard. Cool.
Oh, sure. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. So what is a sand event? These are any events related to sand mining that could have a negative impact on your health. It includes dust blowing off of a mine onto neighboring properties or onto the street. Sand mines are not allowed to have emissions off of their property, but it does happen. It happens into the streets and into the neighborhoods. So that is a sand event. Also, if you observe runoff into a local stream or wetland, again, that's not allowed to happen, but it does happen. So that's a sand event. Excessive noise from the mining operations or from the truck traffic, you can get a decibel. What's that? Yep, sorry. You can get a decibel meter on your phone. There's apps that you can download, and you can measure the decibels that are. And there's actually rules about how many decibels are allowed, kind of at the entrance to the site, and there's rules about like how many decibels you're allowed to be exposed to. And I think might be in the permits as well. I have to take a second look at that. But you can measure the decibels that operating near a sand mine with your phone, and you can take a recording of it. Also dangerous truck traffic. Many people are concerned about bringing their young children on the streets, walking their kids on the streets, also walking their dogs and things like that. Also, with some other developments, we've seen trucks that are impacting some of the culverts and some of the conditions of the roads and things like that. So those are all related to sand events. So we want to collect all of this information. So I'd love to talk about like data collection, which is why we're here. What we need is concrete evidence that we can present to regulatory authorities that there are issues going on, and for that we need consistency. So we have actually, it's right behind you. So we have a couple of forms here today that I'd love to hand out at the end. We have a form about how to take action on the sand mines, and it's a handout, but it's also available on our website. Basically, when you record a sand event, record your full name, the location of the incident, the date of the incident, the time of the incident, the weather. If you know where the truck traffic or the sand is coming from, please note that down, and take any photos or videos of the incident. Then we also want an indication of the type of harm you experienced from the event. If it was sand itself, if it was excessive noise, if it was truck traffic, if it was harm to wetlands, dust on your home or breathing air, vibrations on your home, harm to wildlife or other. So be specific about what type of harm that you experienced. And then a statement about how you were personally impacted by the event. This is important to show that you experienced personal harm in regard to these mines. And we're looking for just concrete data on these. And we have 3 ways to report this information. You can report it to the state authorities, to the Mass DEP, the Southeast Regional Office, the Bureau of Air, Waste, and New Source Review. We have a phone number for Mark. That's you can give him a call and leave a message. He's the officer for the Bureau of Air, Waste, and New Source Review. You can report it to your local Board of Health. The Town of Carver has an access to this form on their website. It's also on our website, so you can make a report to the local Carver Board of Health about what you experienced. And then you can report it to us, and we're going to accumulate all of this information to our community dashboard. And so, do you guys want to do a demonstration of how it works?
Yeah.
Great. Okay.
I think you want to talk?
Thank you.
Cool.
Yeah, so you can start by going to sandwars.org, which is it provides some information about sand mining at the beginning, but yeah. And you can keep scrolling.
This is the map of all the sand
yes.
mines.
And then at the very bottom, if you click on the View Online Dashboard of sand mining, you will get to the community dashboard. So as I said before, these purple icons are where all of the air sensors are, and it's just Google Maps. You can also see Market Basket. But once other people submit their own community comments or do dust sampling, they will also be icons here.
Should we click through one of them?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we show them the quantity cube.
Yeah. Okay. You can click on it. Okay.
So in case you're very curious and data hungry for that air quality, let me show. Can I click and jump? This is the data. This is actually current data. Yeah, Corwood Circle is up. This is what we call a time series. Has any of you seen a time series before? Great, love it. So what this graph is showing you is time on the x-axis and the concentration of this. This is PM 2.5 on the y-axis, but let me switch it, which I'll show you how to do. Up here. So PM is the number is the size of the particle. And for dust or sand, you always go for the biggest one, which is PM10. So this is what the PM10 data looks like. So basically you go like, okay, October, what day is today? I don't even know. October 18th at midnight, you can kind of click on that or hover over that button. It tells you it was 14 micrograms per meter cube. What does that mean to you? Nothing. But you can know that the WHO recommended level for 24-hour exposure is around 45. So 14, not that bad. You can also do a 1 hour average in case you don't want all the noise. And that's a little better. You can also select a range of time. So for example, if your car appeared with sand 2 weeks ago, you're like, oh my gosh, I actually want to go back and check my car 2 weeks ago, or the data. You can select it. It will take a second to load. And okay, so we found something. So on October 6th, you can submit using this. Sorry, Macs are weird for me. Okay. Zoom in, and then you can see that between 1 a.m., which why are they doing something at 1 a.m.? I don't know, and 3 a.m., the concentrations went above 100, which is huge for us. So this is the sort of data that Scott and I would take and be like, oh my gosh, did we get any resident comments on October 6th when they woke up? And if the answer is yes, then we have a really, really solid smoking gun. And if the answer is no, we still will get the wind direction and be like, okay, the wind is pointing that direction, so it was probably from the sand mine. But yeah, that's pretty much how you use it. And then if you want to be, I cannot see. Oh, I guess you cannot see this in the public view. It's fine. So that's pretty much. Sorry. That's pretty much it. And just the last thing I'm gonna show here is, PM10 is highly associated with dust, like I've mentioned 5 times. PM1 is associated with cars and traffic. These are like fossil fuel combustion, basically. Not so much with sand. I mean, the trucks that are passing by would emit PM1, but the sand emits PM10. So it's a really cool way to like separate the sources. I mean, like this is truck, this is sand. Also, by the way, PM1, the WHO is so hard to measure because these sensors are actually pretty upscale. But we don't have standards for PM1, even though that's the most dangerous one because it's the one that gets deeper into your lungs. But in the atmospheric chemistry community, which is sadly I'm part of, anything above 10, we say that that's pretty bad for PM1 especially. So PM10 is 45, PM1 is 10, kind of confusing. But you can see that these specific sensors spend 2 days above 10, which for me is like, okay, that is something that we need to flag. That is something that we need to understand why. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I'll pass it back to you guys.
Can I step in for a minute?
Yeah, of course.
So I wanted to also mention that this is also the reason why we probably, like, when you have a sensor at your house and you actually also collect the sand for us, that also makes us correlate. Okay, the air monitor saw this. The sand that we saw actually contains all these silica particles that are harmful. And then if you saw previously that there was sample from close to the sand mine and also next to the property. So then we make the correlation, oh, it's actually this sand that's coming from the mine that's coming to the property as well. So we're trying to make all those correlations and present a strong case like we did at the State House, saying these are the results. This is why we present this bill. So, yeah, go ahead. Sorry for interrupting.
That's good. Do people have questions at this point? We can. Okay, cool. We'll show the last couple. Cool. So the purple ones are the sand or are the air sensors. Where are we? What is this? This is an example test of a collected sand mine, just that it will show up at a spot where you've collected sand. And this is a comment. Okay.
That's pretty much it.
Cool. Yeah. Okay.
Google
That was it.
Yeah.
Do we want to look at the form?
Yes.
Yes.
Cool. Okay, we'll go back to Sand Wars. Sandwars.com.
And then you can click on document a sand concern if you would like to submit a community comment. And this is the form. This is the like editor link. We will fix that.
Oh.
Yeah.
This is not the editor link. It's a responder link.
not?
That's the
It's a
red
preview, yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, I think.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's fine.
Okay, so this is where you can fill out your information about submitting a community comment. It's a pretty detailed form, and we have a couple one-pagers, which you have one right there, but it explains how to submit the form if you're having trouble. So, yeah.
Name, location, date, time.
And the big thing here is there's 2 parts of the form. There's like a community comment section where it's like this, but in a Google form that will kind of go to like the online base where you can make a comment. But there's also steps of walking through how to take a dust sample. And so that's in these kits that we'll give out, which have dust samples and a little step-by-step here. But the main step, like process of how to take a dust sample and collect the sands that then we'll analyze is on this form. So that will walk you through step by step what to do to take that sample. That will help us analyze them.
Okay, cool. We'll pop them back, Catherine.
Yeah,
One thing to be careful about taking the sample is it should be a sample from like your car or which Anna mentioned before, not from the ground where there's other soil, because then it's contaminated. So if it's like anywhere where no other mud or dust was located, that would be the best to collect.
Do you want to do the last slide?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Also, if you guys need help filling out the form because it looks scary and too long, you can always reach out to CLWC or the students, somebody will help you.
For sure.
Absolutely, yeah. So our main email is environmentwatchsoutheasternma@gmail.com. But you can go to our website, communitylandandwater.org, and find our contact information. We're so happy to be here. We're so happy to have you here. We're embarking on a year-long study with Olin College of Engineering and with Air Partners to study this phenomenon. And at the end of the year, we're going to have a data set that that Air Partners and Olin is going to analyze. And we want to make this information available to you because you are the community and that is impacted by this event. So how would you like the data to be presented to you? Like, what sort of deliverables and information would be most useful to you at the end of this study? We're going to turn it over to you. Yep, go ahead.
How many days particular matter reaches above that point would be.
Yep.
This is so useful.
Graph showing you.
And if it was like for 3 days state and maybe broken down by month, so we could.
Which is actually really good because the WHO says you cannot exceed it more than 3 times a year.
Yeah.
And I think the data that we've already analyzed exceeded it like 6 times in 6 hours or something.
Yeah.
So it's really okay.
I also have one more question. At the end of the year, are y'all gonna do like? Never mind. It's basically the same question. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're happy to present again if we like find new things, or so if it's end of the year, we go, okay, the year-long study had these results. We're happy to do an event.
Okay.
As well.
I think So what I'm thinking is like maybe a very large event with all 3 communities that we're monitoring, and we'll have you guys back and present the results of the data. So.
But you'll also see us knock on your door to put an air monitor. Like you'll see us during the year.
Yeah. Does anyone have any questions about using the community dashboard, how to report, what to report, when to report, anything like that?
Is there a help feature right online if you did have questions, or a number you could call?
I would just say email us. Yeah, but maybe do we have that other community dashboard? Like who to contact?
We have our email address as well, so we can put it there.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, we can do that. Put email who to contact if you have questions.
Good. Thank you.
So.
We're trying to report it as a community event, which I think I did, but it asked for a specific date. But ours was like over a range. I mean, it was this nasty dust storm that lasted well over a year, covering everything. But now it's a done deal. We think it's a done deal. Not that I can see it in the air anymore. We don't see it on any cars anymore. We still have residual in the attic. We still have residual in the garage.
The wind sills used to be 2 inches thick.
I wrote the initials of the bog in the dust, which we might still have dust.
I don't know if I have any pictures.
No, but you all submitted it. I think you submitted it on Google Form.
Yeah,
So we
okay.
have windows and pictures.
I know
It's in the
that.
same area that's been
Yeah,
reported. It just happens.
The wet, the one, in fact, the picture with the pool, I think that's across the street from us.
Yeah.
They cut down all the trees and there was so much wind, you couldn't even see. In fact, our son came down the road when we had snow last year ago, and the girls were like, why is the sand all brown?
No, the snow all
The
brown.
snow.
What's
Snow.
wrong with their
You
snow?
couldn't even see the snow. Our driveway, you couldn't even see. It's in our attics, it's in our garages. Supposedly it's fixed out, but I wish that,
Yeah, it's unfortunate we
my
didn't know.
lungs aren't fixed now.
We'd love to could we modify it maybe for a date range? Yeah, a date.
Leonard Street.
I'm sure you're familiar with that.
We have one in 28.
I think there's a monitor.
You had a monitor across the
I
street.
don't know if it's still there or not. Perhaps it's closer, actually closer.
It
to
was
the park.
terrible.
Yeah, no, we would love to receive this information because again, this is not. It's going forward, but it's also been occurring for quite some time. So
Supposedly they fixed the problem.
Well,
but-
hopefully,
Yeah,
well,
but
yeah.
it was a lot of phone calls and a year and a half of us,
yeah, no, so this is exactly the type of information that we're looking for to get on the community dashboard. But you can also, like I said, call the DEP or report it to the Board of Health as well. But yeah, we're really trying to get this all in one place. So yeah, we'd love to get that information online. Yeah. I forgot to announce that this meeting is being recorded. I was supposed to do that at the beginning. So please be aware, if you don't want your face or your name associated with the video, just let us know at the end, please. So I forgot to announce that. So go ahead.
I'm a resident of Wareham, and I'm just wondering if you're also going to be doing it in Wareham, because we noticed that there seems to be a lot more of this, and some of it does not seem to be just sand mining? I'm not sure what's going on.
Yeah, so all of this is available to Wareham residents. I'm not sure, we talked about another talk or, what's that?
Oh, sorry. Aren't we installing one in 2 hours in Wareham?
No, we're going to Middleborough.
Oh, Middleborough.
Yeah,
sorry.
mhm,
The
yeah,
street I think is called Wareham Street.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, it's called, yeah.
So I think we had a meeting with some Wareham residents because we were talking about the solar panel issue that's going on there.
Mhm.
So I think they proposed that we would do it, and when they asked us to do one, so we are planning to do one. I think we can discuss date and when we can do it.
And feel free to take information with you if you go. All right, I'm gonna hand it over to you guys. I mean, I don't know if we want to wrap up at this point or, if there's any more questions. Or...
Does anyone want to take the dust sampling kit?
Yes.
Yeah.
We have a good fair few of dust sampling kits, so we can take a couple.
Then we have powder report.
I'll check it. We'll see if I can.